From football star to fraud conviction, 8 News is following the federal embezzlement case involving former NFL and UVA football player Christopher Harrison. Welcome back to 8 News at 6. I'm Deanna Albritton.
I'm Eric Phillips. We now know the former athlete pleaded guilty to embezzling more than $50,000 intended for an apartment project in Richmond. And 8 News reporter Roland Wilson joining us live in studio after digging through the court documents. And Roland, what have you learned?
Well, Eric, Deanna, Christopher Harrison is in the spotlight tonight, not because of his athletic ability, but for his misuse of thousands of dollars, as you mentioned. Actions that could lead to decades behind bars. Federal court documents revealing how a former NFL and UVA football player went from playing under the bright lights to tackling an embezzlement case. According to the Department of Justice, a federal grand jury charged Christopher Harrison in October of last year with wire and mail fraud, engaging in monetary transactions with criminally derived property, and aggravated identity theft. The department's investigation states Harrison secured 2 bank loans for an apartment project in Richmond at the Model Tobacco Building and another development in North Carolina, both loans totaling more than $22 million. Just last week, Harrison pleaded guilty to 1 count of wire fraud. Our 8 News legal analyst, Russ Stone, weighs in.
In this case, if they had gone to trial, they're running the risk of being convicted of all of those charges, which is going to substantially raise your guidelines exposure.
Federal court documents reveal Harrison admitted to misusing the funds for the Model Tobacco project. He is said to have received a construction invoice for about $35,500 and requested more than double that in a bank loan totaling more than $95,000. He would then hide the fraudulent and inflated invoice by taking out a cashier's check and redepositing the check into his account. The Department of Justice previously stated Harrison used the money to pay his mortgage, purchase thousands of dollars worth of jewelry, and for his child's tuition and tutor expenses. He is set to be sentenced in June for these actions and is facing up to 20 years in prison.
There's going to be a variety of things that the court will have to weigh from that pre-sentence report and then make a decision about sentencing.
I'm told the remaining charges for Harrison will be dropped. I reached out to attorneys on both sides who declined to comment. Now, it is important to note it's rare for someone to receive the maximum sentence in federal court. Deanna?